750 million ounces. Sit with that number for a full breath before this video says another word. Not a projection, not a rumor, not a leak whispered across a private desk. A documented accumulation position assembled across more than a decade by the same institution that once engineered the exact opposite side of this market. The most structurally persistent short position in the recorded history of the silver futures complex. And today, on first notice day for the March delivery cycle, that same institution filed delivery notices for 12 million additional ounces of physical silver in a single session through the CME Group Daily Delivery Report. A report that updates every business day. A report fewer than 1,000 people on the planet can read with precision. 12 million ounces. First notice day. March contract. This is not background noise from a quiet corner of commodities. This is not a routine vault adjustment buried in an operational footnote. This is the latest documented move in what the data increasingly describes as the most consequential institutional repositioning in silver since the attempted corner by the Hunt brothers in 1980. But unlike 1980, this is not two brothers leveraging themselves into a squeeze that regulators can unwind with a rule change and a margin call. This is being executed in full regulatory visibility through documented exchange delivery mechanisms by the largest bank on Wall Street, JPMorgan Chase. The same name that paid $920 million in 2020 to settle federal charges related to manipulation in precious metals, futures markets. The same institution that, for years, held a short position so large, analysts described it as the structural ceiling of silver, the invisible hand that appeared every time price threatened sustained breakout. That entity is now standing for physical delivery at a pace that the registered vault inventory of the entire CME system is visibly straining to absorb. If that does not fully arrest your attention, stay with me, because the data behind today's delivery notice gets heavier when placed inside the 90-day sequence that created this moment. My name is John O.G. This channel has never charged $1 for what it publishes, and it never will. What you find here is structural market analysis, the map before the headline, the architecture before the narrative. Let's move carefully. Earlier today, inside a table that will not appear on financial television tonight, JPMorgan filed notices to take 12 million ounces of physical silver off the CME floor and into direct custody during the March delivery cycle. The significance of March only becomes clear once you look back 90 days. A delivery demand entered the CME system for 7,300 silver contracts. That represents 36.5 million ounces of physical silver. The CME registered vault at that moment held approximately 1.2 million ounces of immediately deliverable registered silver, not 36.5 million, 1.2 million. That is not a rounding error. That is a structural gap. Hours after that demand registered, the exchange's primary data center in Aurora, Illinois, experienced a cooling failure. Trading halted for 11 hours. When it resumed, the 36.5 million ounce delivery demand had been quietly rolled forward into March. The same March contract that just opened, the same window JPMorgan entered this morning. What was deferred did not disappear. It migrated forward. Now layer January on top of that. On January 7th, CME delivery data showed JPMorgan issuing 99% of all delivery notices in the January silver contract, covering 8.1 million ounces in a single session. Significant, but what made January anomalous was not just the volume, it was the open interest behavior. As physical contracts were being settled, open interest increased by over 400 contracts during the same window. Mechanically, that should not happen. When a futures contract settles through delivery, open interest declines. The paper claim extinguishes. The bar transfers. In January, paper was being rebuilt while physical was being drained. That is not routine vault management. That is structural divergence. And here is the unavoidable question. If JPMorgan is standing for delivery at this pace while open interest rises instead of falls, who is writing the new paper? And why does paper price pressure consistently appear at the precise moments when physical drain is most visible? Hold that, because today's 12 million ounces is not an isolated event. Estimates derived from CME delivery reports and vault custody filings place JPMorgan's accumulated physical silver position north of 750 million ounces. Largely built between 2012 and 2019 when silver traded between $14 and $20 per ounce. That figure is an inference, not a confirmed disclosure. The bank has never publicly stated that number. Analysts debate it. Verification is complex because positions are managed across entities and custodians, but the delivery notices themselves are documented. Now examine the pattern. Over the past 16 months, margin requirement increases have consistently coincided with heavy physical delivery standing by large institutions. When margin is raised, leverage longs are forced to liquidate. Liquidation pushes paper price downward. Lower paper price allows those standing for delivery to acquire physical metal at suppressed levels. The transfer is mechanical. Paper losses exit leveraged accounts. Physical inventory enters institutional custody. The exchange retains authority under Rule 802 and Chapter 7 to alter margin requirements at any time in the name of stability. That authority was exercised in January with a 47% increase within a single week. Rules can change. They always have in past silver stress episodes. Both realities must sit in the same frame. Now zoom out, and at peak, the notional paper to physical ratio in CME silver reached 356 to 1, 356 paper claims per ounce deliverable. That system survives on one assumption. Not everyone stands for delivery at once. In early 2026, registered inventory declined by 18 million ounces in a single week, while deliveries exceeded 33 million ounces. The deficit had to be sourced from reclassification or eligible stock conversion. Neither pool is infinite. Current total CME silver inventory stands near 98 million ounces. Simultaneously, the Shanghai physical premium over CME pricing has expanded into double digits per ounce, creating incentive flow eastward. These are observable data points. Here's the counterweight. Large banks can be facilitating client delivery. They can be hedging dealer inventory. They can be executing logistics unrelated to directional conviction. Visible data can be interpreted multiple ways. The 750 million ounce position is inferred. The 12 million ounce delivery today is documented. Precision requires separating those two. Now consider concentration. Recent reporting indicates a single institution controls roughly 40% of CME silver futures contracts. Historically, no single entity held more than 10 to 15% of a major commodity market. If accurate, that level is abnormal. Silver recently traded near $88 per ounce, gold above $5,000. The gold-silver ratio sits near historical compression levels often associated with physical demand stress. The institution that once defined the short ceiling now appears to be building the floor. Deferred Thanksgiving demand, January open interest anomaly, 16-month delivery pattern, margin hikes aligning with liquidation, Shanghai premium widening, registered inventory under pressure. Read separately, they are data points. Read sequentially, they describe structural transition. From a system built on the assumption that paper claims would rarely convert into physical demand, to one where that assumption is being tested contract month by contract month. Physical silver cannot be printed. Contracts can. If the largest historical short in this market has spent over a year adding physical metal through documented exchange mechanisms, the question is not whether repricing is theoretically possible. The question is scale. Is this deliberate repositioning ahead of structural transition? Or is it operational flow being interpreted as strategy? Both readings are defensible. The CME daily delivery report, the silver stocks report, the CFTC commitment of traders data, all public, all verifiable in minutes. Those who verify will understand March before the headline writers do. If this is your first time here and this level of primary source analysis is what you've been looking for, subscribe. The next data cycle will not wait for consensus. If you watch this entire report, leave exactly this phrase and nothing else. John OG 2.0. Because in this community, the ones who read the full data set mark themselves the same way. Be precise, be disciplined, never invest with emotion.